Besides that, Christmas went great, and we woke up very late the next day. The nephew started saying he wanted Chinese food for lunch, so my boyfriend's parents asked me if I could make it. I said sure and was glad to do it. I cooked something my parents would do on special occasions like these and served the table traditionally, with chopsticks and everything. Then I called everybody to the table and instantly saw their disappointed faces. The nephew said, "What's this?" To which I said, "Chinese food." He grunted and said, "No, it is not," and started to throw a fit. His mom calmed him down, and my boyfriend's parents told me, "This isn't what we were expecting." I asked, "What did you expect?" They replied, "Something like what they serve at restaurants." I tried to explain to them that this is something actual Chinese people eat, but they wouldn't listen. They dressed up and went outside to eat at a restaurant. My boyfriend stayed home but then called me stupid. He said, "You knew exactly what they meant by Chinese food. I'm trying to make you look good in front of them, but you're not helping me by playing dumb." I asked him to explain himself better, but he just shouted, "When people say Chinese food, the last thing they expect is white rice, get a effing clue," and locked himself in our bedroom. Since that incident, they started to speak to me as a toddler, over-explaining everything they asked me to do and stopped correcting the nephew's racist behavior. I tried to tell my boyfriend to ask them to stop, but he said, "This is what you're making. Now they think you're brainless." This continued till they left yesterday. My boyfriend and I now barely talk, and I wonder if it's my fault and if I should have known better. Update. After his family left, I tried to break up with him, but he wouldn't let me end the relationship. I tried talking to him, but he would say something like, "I'm not breaking up with you." I spoke to my family about it. They were furious at him, and I had their support, especially my father. I'm so glad that they were by my side. I went to my place with my father to confront my boyfriend and break up. He didn't take it well and shouted that I couldn't break up with him and he wouldn't end the relationship. That's when my dad intervened, and they started fighting, like, fist fighting. My dad ended up being hurt, but he also landed some punches on my boyfriend. I was horrified, crying, screaming, and with no idea of what to do. My boyfriend grabbed me, got my purse, and took me out. My dad followed me. My keys and phone were in the purse so I couldn't go back in. He locked himself, and we started hearing him breaking things. Then Dad called the police. They arrived about half an hour later. During that entire time, he heard him breaking stuff. When the cops finally arrived, they tried to talk to him but wouldn't respond, so they broke the door, and, after another fight, they arrested him. I walked into my place with another cop and my dad, and everything was destroyed. Everything he could break was broken, from glasses to plates to mirrors to holes in the walls. Every TV, computer, phone, coffee maker, etc. Dad pressed charges immediately. I was terrified, and I'm still terrified. We had a trial, and he is in jail now, but I think he might be deported to Spain. I'm not sure. I'm still in therapy and still living with my parents. Some of my stuff was repaid, but I'm still not ready to return home. Sometimes, I still wake up crying in the middle of the night. I don't know if I regret standing up for myself or if I will be able to trust people in the future. I might die alone without a husband or children, and that makes me sad. My ex-boyfriend's family is still trying to reach me to insult me and make me feel even worse for sending him to jail. I block them but always find another phone number or a temporary mail address to call me from. Final post. I kept going to therapy, and there, I realized my relationship with my ex was way worse than I realized. I'm stupid for ignoring all the red flags on him. It turns out our intimacy life wasn't as consensual. I never really liked intimacy, and always found it gross and hurtful, but he had a higher intimacy drive, and when he wanted to do it, my opinion was irrelevant. I thought it was consensual because I just let it happen without truly fighting against it. I thought I just had to do what he wanted because that's how relationships worked, right? If I didn't please him enough, he would just go and have it with another girl, right? Except he gave me an STD, so he was messing around with other women anyway. At least it is not AIDS and is curable, but still, knowing I sacrificed myself so much for him to gain nothing and get an STD sucks so much. I felt so broken, unlovable, and worthless. I was in the hospital for some days, and for the first time in my life, I hated my parents for saving me. When I returned home, I hugged them and begged for their forgiveness, but my dad said there was nothing to forgive. My mom sometimes sleeps with me, and we cuddle together. It's kind of shameful to feel like a little child, but I feel loved. My ex is being deported. I had to see him a few more times at the court until I couldn't anymore, and now a final verdict was given. He will be out of this country soon. His family has stopped the harassment, too. My current coping mechanism is watching Asian dramas and crying while seeing the cute relationships they have that I probably won't have.